Hello everyone, I'm Peter Fiduccia AKA the Deer Doctor, and welcome to Eric Bunk's Vintage Sportsman.
Hello, welcome to Eric Bunk's Vintage Sportsman. This week we're going to be at the Rockland College Sportsman Show in New York State, and I'm going to show you some of the exhibits they have around. Hopefully maybe get an interview with a couple of guys there that are have booths at the show, and maybe we'll see some fun stuff. If you can't make it to the show, you can kind of live it through our show. So stay tuned, it should be fun. Hello, welcome to Eric Bunk's Vintage Sportsman. Today we're here with Peter Fiduccia, the Deer Doctor, and we want to introduce him. Been watching this man for 30 years on television, and I just want to welcome to the show.
Well, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it, Eric.
Thank you very much. I apologize for my low-tech microphone.
Listen, we have to start somewhere.
That's it. I'm starting out new here. But I just wanted to ask you, how did you get started in all this in the deer hunting industry?
The whole story would take about 2 days, but basically, I came back from a fishing trip, and a friend of mine said, I just wrote an article for a magazine, and he was an editor of Field and Stream.
Okay.
And he said, I just wrote an article for Sportsman. I think it was the New York Sportsman. He said, maybe you want to write something. You have so much knowledge about rattling. Why don't you send him a query? So I did. The article got accepted. The publisher paid me $30 for that article.
Wow.
I would have paid him $300 if he printed it.
Yeah.
But it turned out to be a good thing. It was the start of how I was able to get a lot of articles printed in Field and Stream, Outdoor Life, and it grew from there. As far as the TV show, I went to Group W Cable, asked them if they were interested in doing a local program. They said they were. We started the program, and 2 years later it went national.
Yeah, we watched many years. I was about 14 years old when that first came out, and I tell you folks, a lot of people in West Milford know, every Monday night, I believe it was, we watched that show, and I liked it. It was a part of my childhood that I enjoyed, and I want to say thank you. And just want to say you got some wonderful bucks here. I've used all your tactics as far as calling and things like that. Do you have any other little tactics, anything you want to share?
Well, as you know, I do a lot of deer calling, and I think that's I like all proactive tactics. Another thing that I like to do besides using deer calls is I tell people that what separates a lot of the guys who are consistently successful from fellas who may not be, they maybe kill a deer every other year or every few years, is that you got to have your head in the game. You've got to train your brain to be confident that when you're out, when you're going hunting, you're going to see the buck you're looking for. You're going to see a buck. Because once the brain recognizes that it has a job to do, and that's watch for a buck, it tells the other senses, the eyes, the ears, and it's actually helping you to see and hear things that you might not be if you're just sitting around thinking you're not going to see anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
The other thing I tell people is, in one of my books here, I have a chapter called STOP. It's an acronym for Stop Texting on Post.
Yes.
You know, you want to be in the game. You don't want to be, hey Joe, are you cold?
Yeah, you're hearing that out there, guys? We're all guilty of it.
Everybody's guilty of it. So what I do is I tell people, look, be in the game. When you want to go hunting, that's what you're supposed to be doing, hunting. Not texting, not dozing off, and not saying, you know, the biggest thing, I'm not going to be seeing anything.
Yeah, exactly. That's information from the master. And in a couple of minutes, in the next segment, we're going to show you one of his deer and have him tell a story about it. Then we're going to bring it to his seminar. So we'll see you in a minute. All right, welcome to Eric Bunk's Vintage Sportsman. We're back here at Mr. Pete Fiduccia. We're going to show you a little bit about how he got this monster buck.
Eric, that's a buck I took in Saskatchewan, Canada, and it was one of the worst hunts I ever had as far as weather-wise. The temperature never got above 35 below zero the whole week. I actually wound up in the emergency room with an eye all swelled up from the cold. We used to go out, sit in the stand for maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, get back in the lodge, warm up, do the same thing in the afternoon. At any rate, this buck came out. I was watching a doe. She was about 200 or 300 yards away, and I'd watch her run out and flag her tail and run back in the woods, come back out in the field, flag her tail, and go back in. So I knew she was in heat, and I started to blat at her, and she came like she was on a string all the way into the stand where I was right below me.
Nice.
And a nice, beautiful 10-point buck followed her right in. I was going to shoot it. And Kate, who's my cameraman, camera lady, my wife, we have a little thing going on where she sits above me, and if something's not right, if she doesn't have the buck in, just right in the camera or whatever, she'll tap me with her foot twice. So I was raising my rifle ever so slowly to take this 10-point when I felt this little kick, which means don't shoot. And I'm thinking, what the heck is going on? And I start raising it again, and I get kicked again. Don't shoot. What the heck? And I figure I better start looking around. I look around, I see another doe, or what I think is a doe, about 40 yards from me, just standing there watching the other two deer. Long story short, that doe turned around, and when she turned around, that was on her head.
Oh, wow. Now, folks, you know that's what's worth waiting for.
He was in such thick cover, I never saw the antlers. And that was the end of when I saw this buck. The first morning of the hunt. I never saw him again until 11:30 of the last day of the hunt. And again, he was following the doe across a field, and I literally blatted him in. Well, I blatted the doe in, and he followed her right across that open field. And
that's awesome.
The only thing between him and me at that point was air.
That is awesome. And is that how you got the name Deer Doctor?
Actually, no. I got that name from Wade Boggs, the third baseman.
Oh, yeah.
From the New York Yankees. We hunted a lot together. He used to be a co-host on the show for a few years, and Wade's an avid hunter. Loves to hunt, good hunter. And we'd go out together and we'd do something like call a deer or rattle a deer in, and say, brother, you're the Deer Doctor.
That is great. My mom's a big Yankee fan. Mom, that's for you. That's for you, Mom.
And I really didn't like the name at first, and then it just stuck, and it's been, 30 years now.
Oh, that is great, and that is just awesome. And I know it's a treat for all you guys back home, and Mom, like I said, that's for you. And I wanted to thank Pete very much for this interview. I thank you so much for taking your time out.
My pleasure.
God bless, and thank you again.
Thank you.
We didn't want to do a full all-day one. It's all day. 6
Reason being, I still have to pay my guides extra now to take it out again. What I have is barrels out in the woods that we bait with, and a 55-gallon drum. You can see it laying in.
It protects you right away, right there. Well, I don't like it.
practice was bringing it back. It just was big. He's like
Somebody.
to here, he's close to 48 inches. I mean, you'll do a nice rough. You did these fluke?
Yeah.
Did you go on the Hell
I played a couple years in a row. I'm not a great fluke fisherman. I caught some. I didn't catch anything big. They were getting.
Yeah. Well, there's some skill. There's some up there.
Yeah. Wow. The owner, he's a good fluke fisherman.
I used to get a go to last. I used to make the day.
Yeah.
No, he was telling me last year something. He was about a 16 inch thing. I feel like
Yeah.
there's no chance if I caught a fish, especially if I was with him on the LA. There's no chance.
Are you gonna walk or are you gonna stay?
All right. So before you do that, so if I for a lot of $40, a handful of 40s, I put it. If I have a striped bass up on and I want to keep it for you, is it better to like wrap it in newspaper? Tell me what the best thing is.
No, because wrap it's wet. It all comes off a little bite.
So just keep it.
So if you take gentlemen, take name, while we're out of line, sorry.
How you doing today?
I'm good. You got the right idea there for easier to remember stuff, right?
Yes, yes. You want to tell us a little about your lodge here?
Sure. Are you familiar with Saskatchewan at all?
No, I'm not.
Okay, I'll show you where we are. Right now we're down here. That's our 1,500-mile line to Saskatoon. So straight north of Montana, North Dakota.
Okay.
Your job is basically to get to Saskatoon. Once you're in Saskatoon, that's where the trip starts. We fly you 500 miles north up into Stony Rapids. From Stony Rapids, you transfer onto a float plane, 45 minutes into our lodge there. So we're 20 miles south of the Northwest Territories border. We're looking for big pike, lake trout, Arctic grayling.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, this is awesome.
This is kind of the lake that we fish. Our lodge is there, but we're also on the East Porcupine River system. We fish the river. There's a set of rapids there that none of the previous owners have been able to get a boat across. So last summer we went and scouted the river by canoe to come up with a plan, and we're coming back with jet drive outboards as well as possibly a hovercraft, because we're getting over those rapids. We've got 20 miles of river that's never been fished before, and it connects to a lake where we've got an outpost camp. The last group that stayed there was in 2013.
Okay.
So we've got vast amount of unpressured, largely unfished water.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, you can see by the pictures here, you got a lot of monsters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ooh, we don't mess around with these guys.
Nope.
You don't want to. You'd be afraid to start swimming in them waters. That is awesome. That is awesome pictures there. Look at that. That is the way to go. Wow, that is cool. That is great. Well, I thank you very much. I appreciate it.
No problem.
All right, you have a wonderful day.
Cool, thank you. Enjoy the show.
I will, I will.
Oh yeah? Almost gone. Be good, Stand there long enough, we'll start talking to you.
Yeah. I always say when I'm on my hunting camp, when the mounts start talking to you, it's time to go home.
Or stay longer, one or the other.
Stay longer, one or the other. Woo. There's some mean whamma jammers there.
Yes, sir. Stuff open in April? Yes, we sure do. What's the best? Yeah, weekdays are a lot better. No season golf. It's 100 anytime. We can get in on almost any weekend. But this one so big.
That, folks, is a mean whamma jammer.
For you guys. The crowd comes here
Look at them coarse hairs on there. Coarse, very coarse hair. These things are made of iron.
We hunt with you all day long.
Made of iron, very wiry hair on these hogs.
It's a little bit only because I had my knees replaced. Oh, you got
Like pickerel, any of that stuff will take care of that.
That is cool. Just now I got 7 yesterday, so it's like I said, she's not minded, right? Like this would also, right?
What's that?
This also would be for like.
Yeah, for trout, we do smaller ones. We're running the trout rivers for trout or panfish, stuff like that. All of our baits are Kevlar on the inside, so it's just like a police vest. So it's a woven fabric, so it's not going to rip or tear on you. One of the cool attributes about Kevlar is it's absorbable.
The town throws this giant swim bait for 2 straight days and wins the whole damn thing. Oliver, I gave him a $100,000 check. He said thanks, jumped in his truck and drove off to the next one. He hurt everybody's feelings there in Missouri, but the guys crybabying around. It's like, oh, this guy comes in and throws a giant swim bait and wins the whole thing. And I said, yeah, you could have thrown a giant swim bait too. You might have caught one yourself. Not only did he win it with that big fish, he said, had another one come up, did you, Oliver? Yeah. Yeah, first and second. It should have been $150,000 weekend for him. Slacker.
You can own this too for the price of a home. Bows, NRA, it's all good stuff. What's that?
See any deer?
I know, that's what we're looking for.
Go to the next one over.
We'll see deer next one over, now we see the weapons.
Taxidermy. There are taxidermy. See some nice animals.
Oh, beautiful, thank you. Those sure have changed a lot over the years.
Lordy, lordy, lordy. What's that? It's not. Money big. Right? Big, big one day.
Okay, folks, that's all for our show this week. Tune in again next time for another episode of Eric Bunk's Vintage Sportsman. Thanks for watching.